What's up, everyone? It's your boy Scott. Welcome to the Scott Report, and today we are here to talk about episode 1 of The Ghost in the Shell. And notice how I put the on it, because this is the first time that they actually use like the. I mean, I think the manga has it, but most of the time it was just Ghost in the Shell. And again, this is another way to just separate how things are going to be with this series, because this time we are going off the manga, like straight up 100% adapting the manga, which is the original work, even though a lot of us probably got introduced to Ghost in the Shell back in 1995 or watching the 1995 one. It all came from this one. So the team at Science Saru doing a very awesome job, just won our hearts over ever since like Devilman Crybaby. So they are coming in as a team who is not shy of, adapting things the way it's supposed to be, going to like darker tones when they're supposed to and things like that. I'm excited for it. I really am. And again, the big question that I know a lot of people have coming into this series is, do you have to watch any of the previous works to get into this series? And the answer is straight up no, you do not. Because once again, this is the original source. This is where Ghost in the Shell came from. Anything you've seen took pieces from this. It came from this. It's adapted this in some shape, form, or fashion. See, and the thing is, this is going to be a very different adaptation than we're used to, because this is Cyberpunk at its core. Like, this is like one of the things that it came from. And a little bit of information, like with the 1995 Ghost in the Shell movie, it was going off of the wave of the sci-fi, tone and feel of the 90s, with things being a little bit more dark, things being more bleak, things being more serious, like Blade Runner. While the manga was, I won't say the manga is absolutely silly, because the darkness is still there, the tone is still there that you're used to from bleak cyberpunk series. Like, look at Edge Runners, for example. Like, it still has that type of feel, but this is going to be a different major Motoko Kusanagi than we're used to seeing, because this one is just straight up main anime female MC character energy. Like, she's brash, she gets drunk. I've been seeing things that she's gonna be like getting down, and like it's gonna be all types of girl on girl stuff. It's gonna be crazy. By the way, this is gonna be a different major, so that might rub people the wrong way, or maybe people might like it. We'll just have to see, because we're clocked in for 10 episodes with this. But I would say no, you don't have to watch anything before this. This will be a good place for you to jump in. Now, if you have context, if you've seen the other works before, such as this standalone complex, not this, like the 95 one standalone complex, things like that, of course you're going to pick up on little things, because there's still, iconic scenes. There's still things there. It's still a lot of the same characters that you know and love. Again, it's just taking it on a different route than we're used to. So with that being said, let's get into the episode and let's get into some likes and dislikes. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. There was a lot of things I liked. I can tell you right now, the only thing I didn't like was, and this happens a lot with a whole bunch of, cyberpunk things and things that has a lot of psychobabble, like psychopaths, is that the subs, and maybe it's because I'm getting old, the subs are getting too fast for all the psychobabble that's going on, so I had to rewind a lot of times to catch what they said, because I didn't want to watch the dub. Usually when I know it's going to be a lot of preachy stuff and a lot of exposition and things like that, sometimes I do go back and watch it dubbed so I can understand it. And we got the same thing here, just like going off of the intro, how they were explaining everything and it was going so light and fast. I was like, wait a minute, I gotta rewind that. But anyway, Ghost in the Shell is finally here. This is something that I hold dear to my heart, because, Ghost in the Shell, for people who grew up in the 90s like me, this is like the holy trinity. You had Ghost in the Shell, you had Akira, and you had Ninja Scroll. It's like those three things were like the holy grail, or the trinity of anime. So watching those were like essential to like you getting into anime. And I'm very excited to be covering Ghost in the Shell, because of course Standalone Complex was before I was doing anime content. And we had things since then, but like I wasn't really like rocking with them like that. Like the two that we had on Netflix, or the one we had on Netflix, and then we had Arise, which is all right, but it wasn't the same. Anyway, I'm rambling because I'm just excited to get talking about Ghost in the Shell. So let's get into it. And I've not read the manga myself, so it's kind of like I'm going into this blind. Like again, I'm just gonna have a lot of context on things. But with that being said, even though we're seeing a different major, and this is a side of the major I like, because she's more akin to what you're used to with like a female MC, instead of like, don't get me wrong, I love the silent, stoic, badass Major that we got in the other works. But this one's cool too, because don't get me wrong, when it comes down to get to the action, she's definitely still gonna get it in, as we seen like in the iconic, first scene with her meeting the commander and everything, with her jumping off of the roof and doing the salute while she's going into the camouflage. Now that's been kind of dividing the fan base a little bit, because of course, what we seen in 1995 was beautiful, and it still thinks to this day they can't overtake that. And seeing it how with this art style, this animation, and how they did it, it didn't exactly hit the same, but it was still iconic nonetheless. So let's get into episode 1. Right off the bat, one thing that I really love, that this still looks and feels like a 90s anime, just with the modern coat of paint. Some of the tech is even still 90s, like you're still seeing them using like CDs, older type of computers and things like that. But at the same time, it's like a little bit of modern tech too. They're adapting the manga, so they didn't really change anything. It's like they really are just going back and adapting the manga just with current animation. But it just felt like something I would have watched back in like the Toonami days, or back when, again, I'm going to age myself a bit, back when I was going to Blockbuster and finding anime in the OVA section, or when they had the anime. It just felt like something I would have watched back then, especially like with it still being, bleak and gory. And it was like a little bit of mix, because sometimes somebody would just straight up get wetted up, and then it'll turn to kind of like a pixelated, like almost like robotic type of blood. And then at the same time, you get regular blood too. So at times it's just a difference between, was that a cyborg that got shot, or was that somebody who didn't transfer over yet? So we see a lot of things like that. And a lot of things that we love about the series is still here too. Just like, going against cyborgs and cybernetics, people getting their brain fried because people are jumping in. I mean, we've seen anime try this before, try to have that 90s type of look to it still. The first thing that comes to my mind is Megalobox. And I know that got a lot of flack when it came out, because it literally looked like you was watching a VHS tape in like the 2010s, 15s, whenever it came out. The same thing with Ghost, but Science Saru has found a way to do it better, because this type of look, feel, and animation is just where they're at home. So the thing that I love the most is the look and feel about this series. And like, this video really is just going to be me just gushing over how good this was as we get further in. And we already only got 9 episodes to go. And that's not to say that a lot didn't happen, because it did. But the things that I like the most is that when I think of Cyberpunk, I think of things like this, like Ghost in the Shell, Angel Cop, things like that. And it's giving me that same type of feel with what we had in this episode too. And backtracking to another point I made again, just because this doesn't look like the Ghost that it's still there, because things was bleak. Because one of the main things that happened in this episode, or one of the main missions, is that the Major's team is going after, these people who are holding kids like captive and torturing them and abusing them and making them fight for food. They're eating gruel. It was just terrible. And like, it was 2 kids they were trying to eat, and one took the other one's bowl, and they got to fight, and they just straight up shocked this kid, and everybody was just looking like, oh well, I guess he shouldn't have did that. So that tone was just there. And that sense of hopelessness is there, but at the same time, you're rooting for everybody to come along. And I always tell you guys, whenever episode 1 comes along, even like with this, and this being something that I watched for years, I'm still a little bit unfamiliar with names, so I have to get them again. But Major's there, Bato there, Tagusa's there, and he's still like the rookie. That's another thing that I want to point out about this series, is that this is kind of like a jumping on point, because Major and her team are already established, but working with the section and working with the government, this episode was kind of her introduction. And that assassination scene that we know or don't know from back in the day, that we've seen in the old movie, that we've seen in Standalone Complex, this was kind of like their initiation to joining the government and working for them, and kind of like their calling card. Like, look, we did this job better than you guys. We were able to track these people down. So you want to play ball with us and get down to these cyber criminals, or what? So that was pretty good too, to see things kind of being built from the ground up, in addition to seeing an all new or different major than we're used to seeing. The music was absolutely fantastic. I've had the ED on repeat for the last few days. I just absolutely love that. I love the opening. It just has that feel, and King New never disappoint when it comes to an opening. So we got that to look forward to as well. But overall, the look and feel of everything and with Major taking out, it's everything that you would expect from a cyberpunk type game. Like, if you like the game Cyberpunk 2099, you're absolutely gonna like this, because we're seeing a lot of the same things. We're seeing humans, we're seeing people with cybernetic parts, we're seeing implants, we're seeing something that was made really famous, like by this series alone, by one thing, with people jacking in and being able to go into people's minds, being able to inhabit whole new robotic bodies, but their ghost or their soul is in there. And that's things that we're going to get into as we get further into the series for people who are new, especially when we get to the bigger plot of what's going on, like with the Puppet Master. But Chef's Kiss, it just hits everything so well. Like, again, this is pretty much just a hype video. I think episode 2 comes around, is going to be more of the breakdown. This is more just me being hype and saying you guys absolutely need to watch this video. Watch this video too, of course, but you guys need to watch this series. Give it a shot. Let me know what you guys think of it, because I absolutely loved it. So yeah, I guess if anything, this was me just hyping you up and telling you my first impressions of Ghost in the Shell. They absolutely loved it. The Ghost in the Shell. We gotta address it by its actual name this time. I give it an absolute 10 out of 10. It was a very good episode. I'm looking forward for where the other one's gonna be. And now that I go back and look at it, the manga's only 1 volume, so I guess 10 episodes would probably be enough, because the runtime is a little bit longer too. It's also on Amazon, so you might have to sell the 7 Seas to see it if you don't want to pay a little bit extra. But I personally think it's absolutely worth your time. And with your boy having a little bit of extra time right now in the summer, I can at very least commit to trying to finish it. As always, like, I want to get the videos out as fast as possible for you guys. Like, the episodes drop on Tuesday. I'm probably gonna have the videos out by Sunday, so just a heads up on that. But anyway, that's whether here nor there. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Again, this was a PSA from your boy telling me, trust me, you will like this. Watch Ghost in the Shell. So do that. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments below, and I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Be sure to hit that like button if you like what I'm doing here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe. All that good stuff to make the algorithm fly. Also follow your boy on Twitch at The Scott Report for some gaming goodness on the weekends, where we pretty much play everything. Like, I am going to dive into Marvel Tokon. We play Marvel Rivals. We're going to be playing a variety of things. So check me out there too. And I'll see you guys soon. So as I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. I really appreciate that. So thanks for stopping by. On this note, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.